All right. So I have a question for you.
What's up?
So did you know anything about Squid Game before you started watching it?
I didn't.
You didn't
I
know
was
anything
actually,
about it.
nah, I was actually lucky enough to have started watching it before I realized it was super popular.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I got an email, like, Netflix. I don't know if you get Netflix emails, but every once in a while, they'll send you an email to say, like, here's what's new, here's stuff you might like, blah, blah, blah. So I got this email with this weird art on it that was all colorful and like screen grabs of like just weird scenes. And it was like Squid Game, Korean horror, not horror, but like suspense show.
Okay.
I was like, that sounds interesting. So I just put it on my list to watch it and then just started.
That's interesting. Yeah, I kind of came maybe in the middle of the hype. Like I was listening to a few other podcasters about, they weren't talking about it, but they were, podcasting about other things, nerd stuff that, we're all into nerd stuff. And then somebody brought up the random subject of the girl in the bathroom smoking the cigarettes.
Yeah.
What's her name? The crazy lady,
Yeah,
212.
I gotta look these names up because I cannot.
I'm gonna murder
remember
these
any of
names. I
them.
already know I am.
Yeah, we're not gonna say any of these right.
Me Neo.
Mino,
Yeah,
Mino,
the
we're gonna
crazy
call
lady.
her Mino.
But
We're gonna call
yeah,
her Mino.
they were talking
No.
about it on this podcast where like she was smoking cigarettes in the bathroom, and then he said something about like, oh, you don't want to know where she got the cigarettes from.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I heard about that, and then I started to see memes about it, and I was like, man, if there's memes about it already, I need to just go ahead and watch it, And then I heard that it was only 9 episodes, and I'm just like, yeah, I could probably breeze through this pretty quickly if it's only 9 episodes, which I did. So it was just
yep,
very easy to get into. It like draws you in from the first episode. I will say like the first episode's kind of long. It's kind of just drags out where you're just like, okay, we know this dude's, his life's just not going well right now, and he's in massive debt, and he doesn't really have a relationship with his kid, or I guess he does, but it's not like the best relationship. And then I feel like it doesn't really kind of like get, moved along until like more than like halfway through the first episode. But after that first
yep.
episode, it's got you though. Like you're in it,
Yeah, that's where the flip gets switched. The
Ba-
switch gets flipped. I always mess that up.
Flipping the switch and skipping the bit. Yeah. But yeah, it's I really like what they did in the second episode too, just because at the end, or what was it? Maybe it was at the beginning of the first or the second episode where like they were trying to decide if they wanted to continue playing the game or not.
Yep.
And it's like, I feel like I would say like 90% of people who watched the first episode at least watched like the first maybe like 10 or 15 minutes of the next episode if they didn't like continue it, and keep on watching. Because Netflix also gets you with that thing where it's like, oh, we're just going to go to the next episode on you. You ain't even got time to decide. You ain't got time to go to the bathroom. You ain't got time to make popcorn. Like,
It works.
yeah, it does. But, yeah, it's pretty funny. It just kind of like draws you in. So what did you think about it, I guess, then?
I liked it. I'm super glad that I watched it before all of the hype, or I at least I got into it before I realized how big it was, because I was probably about halfway through by the time I started hearing like how many records it had broken for Netflix, and that it was like this global phenomenon. Every country in the world, well, not every country in the world, but like globally, it was popular. It wasn't just like a U.S. thing or a Korea thing or anything like that. But
What do you mean records? It broke records or something? Or?
yeah, it's the most watched show on Netflix.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It's the most watched show on Netflix.
Yeah,
ever.
that's what That's what Wikipedia's telling me. Where to say, all right, Squid Game received critical acclaim and attracted international attention. Within a week of its release, it became one of Netflix's most watched programs in several regional markets. At launch, it attracted more than 111 million viewers, surpassing Bridgerton as the network's most watched series to date. So a Netflix original, I guess it's the most watched Netflix
original. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe not the most watched show overall, but still that's a big deal because a lot of Netflix originals are really popular.
Bridgerton. But that's
the multicultural period piece.
Okay.
It's like I don't even know where it's supposed to take place, but it looks like some European aristocracy show about romance, but they have like a bunch of like POCs in it.
Oh, that's why I haven't heard of it. Okay. I think I've heard of it, but I just didn't really, I might have like looked at it and just said, whatever.
I mean, it ain't a show that's for us. It's for people who like romance and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, taking too long to answer your question. I liked it. I'm glad that I saw it before the hype because you know me and hype. Like, if something's hyped too hard and then I watch it and it doesn't live up to that hype, I get mad.
Yeah.
I feel like Squid Game isn't quite as good as the hype around it, but it is very good and I did enjoy it.
I feel like that would be a problem for people who would like watch it now, where it's like, oh, it's now that it's like so hyped up and everything. Like that would be a problem for people watching now, like people like you, like what you said, where it's like, oh, I don't want to watch something that's hyped up.
Yeah, it's a curious thing. I wonder how many people that watch this just aren't familiar with the type of show that this is, because it could be very new to a lot of people.
Right.
As a person that watches anime, this genre of thing where it's like people forced into a twisted game of death where they have to like figure out ways to win or else they're going to die. Like that's not new to me.
Right.
It's not really a novel thing. However, I will say I like the show because the way that it does it, it deviates from what I've seen before in a lot of anime and just other Asian movies and things that I've seen before where a lot of the times the games are super complex. So most of the story becomes trying to break down exactly what the game is and what you're going to do. In this show, what was cool was that the games were stupid simple. It was like, hey, we're going to do a bunch of children, like traditional Korean children's games. So there's nothing to break down, really. Y'all know how to play this stuff.
Yeah.
So most of the story was about like the people involved and their reactions to being in this situation. Mm-hmm. The other thing that the show did really well was usually in this genre, in live action movies, a kidnapping takes place. And I mean, we even have examples of this too. You could think of like Saw, where people get kidnapped and then they have to play fucked up games or whatnot. In the anime realm, a lot of times it's like people get transported to some magical world, or they all of a sudden their world has changed. So they're still in their neighborhood, but something is different about it. Like all the people are gone or something weird like that. This one was straight up like, hey, you got invited to this. Like,
and you chose to come back too.
Yeah, it was manipulative the way you got invited. Like people were the game runners were definitely exploiting the fact that these people were down on their luck and desperate, but it was still 100% up to them. It's like, hey, you can win this money. You just got to come to this game. Then they get there and they're like, oh, snap, this is a game where you're going to kill us if we lose. Well, there's a rule that says you can stop playing if you want, and then they vote to not. They all go back to their shit lives, and then they're like, maybe we should go back to that game. Yep. And they all go back to the game. Not all of them,
but a good majority.
I think it said
of them
like 90. It was like 97% or 93% of the people went back to the game. So that right there made the thing way more interesting because I had seen people just being kidnapped or spirited away and being forced to play these super complex games where you spend half the episode just trying to break down what the mechanics of the game are. This was like, no, these are people from different walks of life that are all just have shit luck. They've been dealt a shit hand or they played a shit hand. And now they're trying to like, get that money. So you see what the dynamics happen. So it was good. It is it's a very good show. And I think even despite the hype, I would probably still tell myself to watch it because it's good enough to watch.
Right.
Even though I don't think it's the best show ever.
Yeah, I mean it's entertaining and it's like worth sticking around for 9 episodes. I mean, definitely. Like it's not, if it was, I feel like if it was like 16 episodes or like 18 episodes, I might have said, I don't know about this. But especially with like all the hype behind it. But yeah, I feel like I came into it at a good time. Plus I was kind of like looking for something to watch because I wasn't really, didn't really have anything I could like binge at the moment, where I was just kind of like, I just want to binge something and just get through something. Oh, this is 9 episodes. It's got a little bit of, hype behind it. The memes look pretty funny. That's a shame that in like today's world is like memes can like draw you into like, give you some curiosity about something, where it's like, oh, this meme, I guess it's funny to this many people. I don't get it. Let me check it out. Because I kept seeing the stuff with like the old man smiling, and like I kept seeing the stuff with like the scene where Ali's holding Seng-Jion when he's like when they're playing red light green light. And I just seen like a few of those when Duxu and Mi Neo were on the platform on the glass, and she's like holding them. Like I just seen like all these like funny memes about it, and I was just like, yeah, let me check this out. Speaking of Duxu, he's got to be like one of my favorite characters from this whole thing. It's kind of weird because like I always like the villains and things, and I was just like, for some reason, like he just kind of like kept me into it. Where I'm just like, he's just kind of like the bad guy. He's like the Bulk and Skull, or like, I don't know why I like make that comparison, but like he's just like a necessary evil that needs to be in there.
Well, yeah, I remember you were saying you liked him, and I didn't get that because he's a piece of shit.
He was, but
of all of the pieces of shit in the show, he was probably the biggest one. But his presence in the show definitely heightened the stakes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you get somebody in there that pretty much gets rid of any chance that everybody playing the game can be cooperative.
Right.
Like he's an early example of introducing the dog eat dog element of what these games are. And then he really makes the whole setup feel like prison, because like it's not necessarily the case that all of the people who ended up there are convicts. We don't know how many are.
See, I kind of disagree with that a little bit, because if you noted, like I've watched it through twice so far completely, and on my second watch through, it wasn't really him that really started all of that. Like, he was partially the cause of it, I will say, but it was when they started getting less food. That's what really started it. Like, they started getting less food when, like, the one time when all they got was, like, a water and an egg. And then, if you recall, there was, like, the scene with the doctor who was, and that's another thing we need to get to, but the doctor that was working on all the dead people and, like, harvesting their organs, he was talking to the guys, trying to find out what the next game was, and he was just like, oh, we gave you less food on purpose because it'll cause a riot. Be careful tonight. You better find some strong people to leech onto. So that kind of like was like the final, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, basically, to make everybody kind of like riot. Which was
that scene proves my point.
Yeah.
He was the one who, all right, so they give them less food.
Yeah.
Everybody there was kind of just like, what? They're giving us less food? He was the first one to cut line to get more. So he cut the line to get more, which left the 5 people at the end of the line without food. They started being like, this dude stole our food, give us more. The game runners are just like silent. They're like, we ain't hey, we have nothing to say about this.
They pulled that a lot of times. It's kind of
there's
funny.
how many of you? That's how much food we allotted. It's gone.
Yeah.
So they just didn't say anything. Duck Sue, so they get into a fight. Duck Sue kills the guy. And then that's when you find out, oh, if you kill somebody outside of the game, it still adds to the money pot.
Yep, they don't care.
So he was the one who basically made everybody aware that, like, yo, you could kill people at any time, and that helps you. That gets everybody closer to the goal of the money. So it's still him, man.
Yeah,
like he's still the one. The doctor's doing stuff behind the scenes. He don't want no static from nobody. He's just trying to get his own money.
Yeah, he's just
That's
trying
all
to get through
he's
it.
doing.
Yeah.
Like he was protecting his neck. That was all Duck Sue.
Yeah, I just found that whole scenario kind of funny because I was just like, the second I saw that they were giving them less food, I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing. Like, it was pretty obvious that they were trying to like spice up the game and trying to like make it so that they could, probably get to the point where like they start going crazy and like going after each other and stuff like that. And I do really like your comparison. I didn't even think about this, but your comparison to Saw earlier when you were talking about that, because I kind of had that like thought in my mind where I was just like, there are some similarities to Saw here, whereas Saw is like more in like a horror type genre, and this is more like in a I don't even know what to call this, honestly, because
it's more like suspense thriller sort of thing.
Because there was points when like, well, I know you said you watched it in Korean. I watched it in English, and there was points in the show where I was just like, this is pretty funny. Like, I don't think they're meaning to be funny here, but it's funny because it's in English. I'm watching it in English. But I feel like if I was watching certain parts in Korean, it probably wasn't meant to be funny. And I did think it was kind of funny how at the beginning with the red light, green light game, you got the old man. He's just cheesing the whole time, just like taking his steps, just like everybody just got murked. He's playing red light, green light, and he's just like up there cheesing, just walking like, hey, I'm about to win this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I just thought that there was like just some certain funny parts in the show. What's her name? I mean, the crazy lady, she kind of was like comic relief for a little bit too. Especially like the stuff between like her trying to like leech on to everybody, like saying there's things that I'm good at and there's things that I'm not good at, and I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said she had some sort of like catchphrase that she said a few times.
She had a line, I'm good at everything except the things that I'm not.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So she said it that way in Korean too?
Yeah, that's what the subtitles were.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't completely serious in Korean, but like, I don't know. There wasn't many moments where I was like laugh out loud. It was, there weren't a whole lot of those. None that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there were some funny moments. I just have to go back and see.
I will tell you that the dubbing was horrible at certain points. Whenever what's her name, the crazy lady, Mineon, or Mineo, whatever her name is, but whenever she had like a breakdown and she started like raging out, the dubbing was awful. Like, it was just so bad because she would just repeat herself over and over. Like, she would just say the same thing but in different ways.
Yeah.
And she'd have like a whole 5 minutes of this, or like a whole whatever, she'd go into like her whole dialogue, and it was just like, oh, she's just saying the same thing in different ways, basically.
Yeah. Well, her character was obnoxious in Korean anyway.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think she was just kind of like...
I felt like she was just supposed to be obnoxious. One thing I'll tell you, though, is all of the rich guys with the mask that show up towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the VIPs, all of them speak English.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I figured the one guy did because the guy that pulled the cop away... that when they went to the room, I figured he did, just because they showed his face and he just looked like a somebody.
Yeah, I don't know what all nationalities were represented there, but it felt like 3 of them were white, so I don't know where they were from. I can't remember if any of them had accents that didn't sound American. 2 of them sounded like they could have been American.
Okay.
One other might have been like French or German or something. It was hard to tell. And then there was one guy who was distinctly Japanese. It was the guy with the deer mask on. He was Japanese.
The deer mask? Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Because he didn't really say much. He was just kind of like in the background analyzing everything while like all the other dudes were like having fun and, you know, making jokes and poking, you know.
Yeah. But I bet you the dubbing that you heard for them was the exact same dubbing that they used in the original. Because it wouldn't make sense for them to dub over what was already there.
Yeah, that doesn't
but
make
it was
any
bad.
sense. It was.
Regardless, it was bad. It was not good. There were parts that were supposed to be comedic, obviously comedic, and they just were cringe.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing where he's talking about like, why'd you pick the number 69? He's like, seemed like a good number. I was like, oh God.
Yeah. and then he went for 96.
And then he went for 96, and they're like, well, if I can't have 69, I guess I'll have 96. And then everybody's like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, man. I was like, oh, God, this is probably the worst part of the show right now.
Yeah, that part was pretty funny.
I wish they would have got some better actors for that.
Man, I got an issue with this police officer, though.
What's this dude? Problem?
I got an issue with like the whole police in general because like I don't know how it was in Korean, but when you first get introduced to, I think it was Sung Ji-on goes to the police and he tells them about everything that's going on. And they basically just kind of like, you know, laugh in his face. Well, they didn't laugh in his face, but they're just kind of like, they don't understand. They're just like, what? I don't get it. And then they call the number and then it's just like some random, like wrong number or something. Then, you know, the cop just like says, you know, oh, I'm just going to go investigate this, you know, because he goes to his brother's house and finds the same thing. The triangle, circle, and square on it. So then he investigates. Then this dude goes in there and just starts killing random people. I'm just like, wait a minute. This dude's supposed to be a police. I get that he's like undercover and he didn't really say anything. He just kind of like went and on his own and just like checked it out. But I thought it was just kind of like interesting how he's just like killing folks in there, like not even like figuring out their story or nothing. Just like this dude's dead.
Here's the problem. He's going. First of all, like you said, he went off the reservation.
Basically,
he's going rogue, 100%.
100%.
I have a hunch. I'm gonna chase this thing. We don't have like an open case or open investigation to go look for this hidden cabal of people running this death game. So he just goes by himself because he wants to find his brother. So he has ulterior motives.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily just to shut this thing down. He thinks that has something to do with his brother going missing like however many years ago it was, like 20 years or something like that. Maybe 15. But so he finds out by following a van that has a bunch of passed out people in it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, that's shady. He's able to make his way onto the ship, and then he sees like a bunch of armed guys with weird masks and jumpsuits on. And then he gets caught. He's in a situation where it's like, yeah, I'm about to get shot. So what's he supposed to do? Be like, you need to tell me right now, turn the boat around, because we're going to the police station and explain this. It's like, no, he ain't got time for that. There's a bunch of people that are passed out, kidnapped, getting shipped out to sea to God knows where. I'm going to have to shoot a dude to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
That wasn't that strange to me. He wasn't. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do.
I think he got all extra, though, once he got inside, though. He was just kind of like killing people left and right once he got in there.
Well, once he got inside, he saw what it was.
Yeah.
They were freaking killing people.
I mean, so was he.
Right. But he's like killing people that, I'm not saying that he was right to go rogue. But what I'm saying is there is obviously a game that's exploiting these people who are down on their luck and downtrodden in society.
Yeah.
And like they're running around with these weird ass masks and pink jumpsuits, and some of them got guns, and other people are running games where people are getting killed and just getting blasted. It's like, yeah, I think dude's qualms about killing anybody isn't like, it's not like he was running out there just shooting willy nilly. He was only killing people when he got cornered, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could kind of see it that way, but
like, you acting like he ran up in there like, "Where's my brother?" and just started like mowing everybody down with a machine gun.
No, I mean,
he was being super covert the whole time.
Yeah, he was until he got caught, and I was just kind of like, how long? I was sitting there thinking like the whole time, I'm like, how long until he gets caught? Because I'm pretty sure he's gonna get caught eventually. And he's not gonna, especially like after he killed the one, or I don't know if he killed the VIP or like what happened to that dude, but
yeah, we don't know what happened.
Yeah, we don't really know what happened to the VIP he went in the room with, but he like snuck out that secret passageway, and that's when he got caught basically. And then they had the whole like confrontation up on the mountain on that island, and then he finds out that it's his brother. And basically he gets shot. Didn't see a body, but we're like to assume he's dead. Maybe they might cover that in season 2.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I didn't know there was going to be season 2. So before I knew there was going to be a season 2, I was like, oh, I guess he just died and they're not going to tie that up. But now that I'm hearing rumblings of a season 2, I'm like, there's no way that he doesn't show back up.
I mean, it's pretty cocky how they ended it, because I mean, they ended it with, I'm pretty sure they ended it with the intention of like, oh, this is going to be big. We're going to make a season 2 out of this, just because of like, they tell him to get on the plane, or they tell Song Ji-yeon to get on the plane, because when he calls a number, because he like calls it like right before he gets on his plane, and then they're just like, just go ahead and get on there, and then he doesn't. You're just like, oh shit, there's going to be a season 2. Like, that's the only way they're going to be able to like follow up with everything. So.
Well, sometimes they do a smart thing and they end a thing with an open ending.
Yeah.
But enough of the main story is closed that if it ended right there, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like the first Matrix. The first Matrix was not designed to have sequels. It was designed to be its own movie, but they left it open ended so they could do sequels in the future, and it wouldn't be super weird.
Yeah, but I felt like there was a lot of things left open with this, that could go either way, basically, where they could have a season 2, or they could just end on this note. But it's kind of funny because like I talked to like some other people about this, and like they're all just like, oh no, why didn't he get on the plane? What is he doing? Why didn't he get on the plane? I'm like, for one, if I talk to some dude and he knows I'm about to get on a plane, I mean, sure, they had access to his money. They gave him the money, so they could have saw that he bought a plane ticket with his money. I don't know. They could have figured it out somehow. But if I knew that some dudes knew that I was about to get on a plane and be overseas for like, 10 plus hours or whatever, I'm not getting on that plane either. Like, I don't blame them. Like
why though?
Because they knew he was about to board the plane. They knew he was like about to get on. Like, I don't know.
What? Now they know he's not on the plane. So they still know what he's doing.
And he's got all that money.
Changes.
See, and he's secretly got all this money now too. That's the other thing. Like,
yeah,
I kind of get how like he didn't spend his money. They said, what was it, a year or something went by and he didn't really spend any money. It was a year.
He didn't spend any of that money. He was still borrowing money from other people.
Yeah, like I kind of get it in like a real world scenario, like taxes and shit like that. But
that's not why he didn't spend the money. The game broke him.
I'm sorry, what?
The game broke him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could definitely tell, especially like when he meets up with the old man again, like, yeah, the game definitely took its toll on him. But once he did kind of like come to and everything, I guess you don't know if he like spent the money to buy a plane ticket to go to America, or if he, where he got the money to do all that stuff. But I mean, he did come around and give some money to Sae-byuk's little brother. when she went to go stay with Sang-woo's mom.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that was some of the prize money that he won. Like, you don't know for sure.
I was assuming it was all of it. I didn't know if it was all of it or not.
I don't think it was all of it, but I would say that it's probably a good chunk of it, maybe.
It's a lot of money, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't know how much, but I mean, I looked up the currency at one point in time of like how much. What was it? Won? Was that the currency that they use? Won?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked it up at like I think the first go around when I first watched it because I was trying to figure out how much like 10,000 won was, and I think 10,000 won is equal to what, like $8 American or something.
I don't know.
I think so.
Let's look it up.
It's something like that. But yeah, we haven't even talked about Sang-woo yet, man.
Sang-woo is the best character in the show.
Sang-woo is.
Oh, never mind. No, sorry. I'm thinking of Sang-woo is it. Sang-woo is like if
218. 218.
You know what? I take it back. Doc-soo is the second biggest douchebag in the show. Sang-woo is the first biggest piece of shit in the show.
Yeah, he did Ali dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it's a life or death
dirty.
situation, but he did do Ali dirty.
Yeah. $1 is 1,183.75 South Korean won.
Okay.
So 10,000, let's do 10,000 South Korean won. Yes, $8.45.
Okay. Yeah, I remember looking it up at one point in time, and I thought it was around like $8 or something. So yeah, I mean, I'll have to do the math later to figure out how much he how much he won in like compared to like US dollars, but
I'm about to look that up now. How much was Squid Game? I knew that's all I had to type because I know everybody in the world is asking that question right now.
Right. I mean,
so
he was what?
The grand total prize was, okay, that site doesn't work for some reason. The grand total prize was, what was it, 45.6 billion won, is roughly $38 million.
$38 million. So I mean,
it's about $38,400,000.
So yeah, he's living pretty. Then he can afford to like give up some money to a kid, to Sae-byuk's brother, and then still have money, to do other things with.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending was kind of confusing because he was still like borrowing money and stuff, and I'm just like, what happened? Did he like just like splurge through it really quick, or like did
like I told you.
Yeah, I mean then they explained.
It broke him.
Yeah, they explained like what happened, but at first I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, why is he why is he still living like this and everything? Did he pay off his debts? Did he do this? Did he do that? There's so many questions left at the end. That's why I was just like, they have to do a season 2. Like there's no doubt in my mind there's a season 2 coming. It's got to be.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes things have more of an emotional ending than like a practical ending. That's how I was thinking about it. Is you don't have to understand everything. You just have to understand where the character ended up.
Yeah.
And understand how he got there, which I think that we did. And I mean, I'm with those other people that you talk to about him getting on the plane. He should have got on the damn plane, because the whole point of him even signing up for the game was his daughter.
Right.
To get back in good with his daughter. And he's on his way. He gets his hair cut. He dyes it red for some reason. I don't understand why he did that. But he dyes his hair red, and he's about to get on the plane. He's talking to who you assume is his daughter in America, saying that he's going to see her soon. And then he decides to call the number for whatever reason, tell them they hate him, that he hates him, tell them, like, I'm a person, I'm not a racehorse, like, you can't treat me like this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, great. So now you're going to go try to take out this crazy secret cabal of game runners with no he does have resources to do it because he has money, but like, you're not a cop, You're not trained in any sort of way. Like, I don't know how in your mind you think you're going to do this. And on top of all of that, you're going to let your daughter down again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part I didn't like. That's the part I didn't like.
Yeah. That's my only problem with it. It was that you told your daughter you were about to get on the plane. Like, you're going to let her down again.
I don't know, man. If they knew I was about to get on a plane, though, I would have been like,
What are they going to do?
I don't know.
They haven't, that they couldn't have already done. That doesn't make any sense.
There could be a bomb on the plane or something. I don't know. They could have.
Why? Why would they put a bomb on the plane?
Why do they know he's about to get on a plane?
Because they already knew everything about him anyway. Just because they know where he is doesn't mean they're going to hurt him.
I don't know.
They know a bunch of stuff. It benefits them in no way for them to bomb the plane. He already has the money. They gave him the money. It's on his card.
Yeah. Speaking of, well, okay. I'm not going to argue with you about that one because I think, I don't know. I see both points of like getting on the plane and not getting on the plane. I'm kind of like in the boat of like, I would want to see my daughter at any cost possible, even if it does means that something is going to happen on the plane. But at the same time, I kind of get it because it's just like, it's kind of like goes back to like that second episode where it's just like it keeps you intrigued. It keeps you asking questions like as we're doing right now, because in the second episode when they're asking all the players if they want to, keep playing the game or go home, the majority decided let's go home. That I feel like that was like a key point in this show, because if they just kept playing the game, the interest would kind of be, just kind of so. But the fact that they like voted let's go home, it keeps the viewers interested. Like, oh, what if they do go back to the game? What happens? How do they get back in the game? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And it did have like a lot of highlights of, other people's lives, like outside of the game. They only spent one episode on it, but it was like, I felt like they tied in a lot of stuff in that one episode. Especially like with the fact that you found out that like Duck Sue, that's not even his real name. He just used the name of a crime mob boss or something like that. Like once he got inside.
Really?
Yeah, that wasn't his real name. I didn't find that out until my second watch through. But yeah,
right. I missed that.
Yeah, that wasn't his real name. He actually, I don't think they said his real name, but he was talking to one of the other guys, and I guess he like killed the one guy he killed in the car. When he got out of the car, he said, "I'm Duck Sue now," basically. So, because I guess he killed whoever Duck Sue really was. Yeah. So then once he got inside, I guess he just told the girl, yeah, my name's Duck Sue. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't catch that.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? But yeah, Sang Woo.
You wanted to talk about Sang Woo, yeah.
Yeah, you wanna tell me why you think he's. I mean, I get a lot of your reasoning why. I feel like you can easily back it up, but just for my own reassurance, tell me why you think Sang Woo is the biggest bad guy on the show.
Oh, because he just tricks the most innocent character on the show. Yeah. Probably the character that is the most, at least of the main characters, because we don't meet all of the contestants. There's like 400 some participants in the game.
I felt like Ali was going to die though, because I think like either the same episode or the episode before, he started talking about his family and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this dude's dead. The second you start talking about your family and like anything, like you're just like, oh, that dude's about to die next.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but that doesn't mean that Sang Woo has to be a dick. But he was like, he completely took advantage of his trust. Was like, I have a way that we can both win the game, I think. And Ali's like just dumb and wide-eyed, like, really? He's just like, yeah, you just have to do what I say. I'm going to meet you back here. And I'm just like, oh, you poor, dumb, sweet boy.
I mean, Sang Woo did get them to that point. I mean, if you think about it, like, he had the idea in the tug-of-war game. He had the idea.
He had one of the ideas.
Yeah, because like
idea.
in the shape,
the old man had the first one.
Yeah, the old man had the first one, but then yeah, he had the other idea in the tug of war game. Plus, he had the idea in the shape game, which
No, the
actually,
honeycomb game, he didn't share anything. He knew what the game was going to be, and then he was like, we should all split up.
and that
I'm
turned
gonna
out to be a
pick.
bad decision.
I'm gonna pick this one. And then when Sang Jong or whatever his name is, when he picks the umbrella, he didn't go, "Hey, don't pick the umbrella. That's a really bad choice. That's the worst choice for this game." He just let him do it because he was like, "I can't let anybody know that I actually know what the game is." Because I picked the easiest one, which was a triangle.
Yep, triangle or circle. Yeah, I would probably say. I don't know.
Yeah, he could have been like, "Hey, let's all pick the triangle,"
Yeah,
or whichever one was the one he picked. I feel like the triangle would have been the easiest one because it was a triangle, circle, star,
and umbrella.
And an umbrella.
Yeah, yeah, and then like it was kind of funny because like you just see everybody kind of just picking away at their shape, all just all quietly and everything. And then as soon as like the first person gets murdered, they all start just hurrying up. It's just like, oh shoot, like they just start going ham. But
yeah, it's effing crazy.
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing that I want to applaud the show for. It's a very odd thing, a very nitpicky thing.
Okay.
The guns sound like guns.
Yes.
I loved that the guns just sound like guns.
I feel like the sounds in general were good. Like they were. Did you like watch it with headphones on or something?
No, just listening to it. Because usually when you hear a gun sound, it's like it's this elongated thing that has a lot of textures and it sounds freaking cool or whatever. Like, no, guns just sound like one loud, abrupt pop. Mm-hmm. It just sounds like a loud. It's not a very romantic sound.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to some of your favorite 90s rap that put guns like in the track. They're always like,
yeah, like they copied
like
it from a video game or something.
yeah, guns don't sound like that. They just sound like it's just really loud and really sudden.
I feel like
that's what
I feel like they're good about that in general, and like Korean, and like just Asian cinema in general.
Depends on what you watch.
Like you watch some like early Jackie Chan movies or something. Like
no way, dude.
Yeah,
those guns sound crazy.
I don't know. They do kind of sound like what you were saying though.
Yeah, like if you watch what is it, Hard Boiled with Chow Yun Fat. I love that movie. Don't get me wrong, but that movie is just all guns and they all sound nuts.
Okay.
But
yeah, I'll have to go back and watch some stuff.
But anyway, yeah, so Sung-woo, he did that. He freaking like murders my girl, Sabyuk, if that's her name. I'm trying to like look at these names on the wiki as I say them.
I have a thing about that, and I think it's just so that they ensure the last game goes off. But so Duck-soo murders the dude, right? They didn't get food. He confronts Duck-soo. Duck-soo murders that dude. The pink people don't do anything about it. They just come in, scoop the body, put the money in the piggy bank. That's it. Sang-woo murders Sae-byuk, and then as soon as Sung Ji-yeon goes after him, they gun butt him. They just hit him with the gun, knock him out. And I'm just like, that's kind of, it's like kind of contradicting itself a little bit. But I get that they want the last game to go off because I guess if Sae-byuk gets murdered, then something happens between Sang-woo and Sung Ji-yeon, then the last game doesn't happen. And the last game is the name of the whole show, so it has to happen basically. So,
but he's the worst because he did that to Ali, who was the most innocent character, and like completely trusted him. Mm-hmm. Was he dumb? Was he a big dummy for trusting him? Yes, he was. But still, I'm not gonna sit here and say like he was like this super smart, like specimen of a human that was like gonna save the whole world with his incredible talents or whatever. But still, man, to just do that, to just take advantage of somebody's trust like that hard, where you knew it results in their death, like, yeah, it's just It's not good, man.
Yeah.
No bueno. No bueno.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the whole series overall so far. I hope that season 2 happens soon, because just to like stay with all the hype that's like going on right now. I mean, I understand we probably won't get a season 2 till probably like next year sometime.
I mean, did they even start production on a season 2?
I don't know. I just assumed like the way that it ended. I'm like, oh, there's going to be a season 2. There has to be, but.
Well, with how popular it is, it wouldn't make sense for Netflix to not do one if the creators want to do one, which I think the creator said something about, like, needing to explain more of the story.
Yeah.
I saw, like, a headline of an article that said something like that.
I can't wait for, like, America to steal Squid Game and, like, make their own version of it. I mean, I guess we did. We got Hunger Games. We got Running Man. I mean... This is a story that's like been told, but I like the way that they did it. It was very good.
Well, this is different. I mean, it's only minimally comparable to Hunger Games. The only comparison is the fact that it's like there's games where people have to die.
Yeah.
Hunger Games specifically, though, is like you have to kill the other people. This isn't necessarily about killing the other people. Some of the games are. Tug of War, you actually have to kill the other people, but most of the time, other people just die because they lost, not necessarily because you killed them directly. So,
yeah. Oh, we're gonna steal it. It's gonna happen. They're gonna have like Steve Harvey host the show or something. Welcome to Squid Game, everybody. This is Steve Harvey.
That would be terrible, and nobody would watch it.
Everybody gonna die except one of y'all. One of y'all gonna leave here with $1 million.
$1 million. 38 million.
Oh, man.
How much money would you have to be offered to take part in the Squid Game?
Man, no, there ain't no way I'm doing that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I can't eat one egg and a water and be fine and be like, I'm good. I have my egg and water. I'm good. Nah.
They weren't fine either. You just have to persevere. You just got to keep going.
Nah, especially like with the old man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, once you got to like a certain point, especially like the tug of war. I'm like, no, I can't have this old man on my team.
Old man saved them.
Yeah, it's not like they knew what the game was before going into it, but still, like, nah, I couldn't do it, man. Could you do a Squid Game?
Hell no. Hell no. It was funny because I was telling my wife, this show was interesting to watch because oftentimes when I watch a live action show, not so much like in an anime or anything, but in a live action show, a situation will happen that's really tense. Mm-hmm. And then I'll immediately start thinking like, oh shit, what would I do if I was in this situation? Like, I don't know what I would do. Oh, this would suck so bad. Every time I thought that in this show, I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
Because I would never do that. Like if some dude just came up to me saying like, hey, you want to play a game? You know, and like offer me a bunch of money, I'd be like, hey, I'm good. Like I don't need to play a game with some dude in a suit with a briefcase full of money and folded paper.
Yep.
Like this is creepy. I'm out.
And y'all got the PlayStation symbols on your forehead.
Yeah. I don't know what you're selling. I don't want it though cuz it's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time I would think to myself, "Oh man, the bridge game. Shit, what would I do?" Oh yeah, I wouldn't be there. That's what would happen.
You would just get repeatedly slapped in the face until you flip that damn piece of paper over.
No, I wouldn't. The dude would come up to me like, "Hey, you want to play this game for money?" I'd be like, "No." And then that would be the end.
I'd probably play the game. I'd probably get slapped a few times and then quit. Be like, nah, I'm good. I ain't flipping over this piece of paper. It ain't going to happen.
I'm not playing any game with somebody I don't know that comes up to me on the street and says, hey, do you want to play a game? No, I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. That dude did look super suspicious, too. Like, that dude just had this look on his face, like, I don't know
He's
about
a
this
salesman,
guy.
man. I don't trust salespeople.
Yeah, he did look like a salesman. He looked straight up like a salesman, just like Like, let me tell you about this pyramid scheme I got going on.
Yeah, 100%.
I got
dope at that game though.
I got all this money. Okay, where'd you get it from? I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you about the business.
Right. He was dope at that game though.
Hey, he was.
He was thumping that paper every time he threw that paper down.
Yeah.
It was like, what?
You heard that smack too, just like.
Yeah. He was getting it. I'm just like, dang. It's like, how much did he have to train to do that?
You heard
that was like part of the job description. You have to play this traditional Korean paper flip game, whatever it's called. You got to play that real good if you want to do this job.
It's so funny because Sang Ji-yeon's sound sounded like super pitiful. When he threw it, he'd just be like, yeah. And then the dude was just like, move along, move aside. And then he'd just like sit there, cheese for a second. Just
yeah. What?
Yep.
Every
man.
time. And then slap him. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the show.
Just slapping the dude.
When all of the people, when they like, after the first game finishes, and then they all start complaining about like, crap, I can't even remember what they were threatening to do. But they were like, may I remind you that you all volunteered for this game. And then they just start showing the video of his chest cam just slapping everybody.
Yeah.
Like every time somebody would complain, you just pull them up on the big screen and you just see them getting slapped. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
That was hilarious. Like, you just saw all those people getting slapped. Just like, you know, like, oh, how did you get here? How did you get here? You know, and then they just like showed the proof of like why everybody's there, because they all just got smacked in the face by the same dude. I don't know if it was the same dude, but they all
it was
just
probably
got,
the same dude.
They all just got that pap.
Yup.
All right, man. You got anything else you want to add on to this?
No, just that Sae-byuk was my favorite character in the show.
She was good. I liked her a lot.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would say Duck-soo was probably my favorite. I don't know.
Like the actor. I will say that. The guy that played him, I liked his portrayal of him a lot.
I might give it another watch through in Korean just to see if I still like him, but and just see if I still like everything in general, cuz I mean, I'm sure it'll be a while before season 2 pops off, so I'll have plenty of time to like watch it again. I'll probably watch it in Korean just for the heck of it. But yeah, I liked it. It was good. I'm not gonna give it like an overall rating out of 10 or whatever, like most people. What do you give it on a scale out of 1 out of 10? No, I'm not gonna do that. But I liked it. I've seen it twice. I'll watch it again, and I'm stoked for season 2.
Yeah, I'll check out season 2. I'm scared because I don't know how good it's gonna be. Because I don't know what it's going to be about. I don't know if it does like a Hunger Games thing where it's like he's going back in the game even though he played the game already before.
I mean, you didn't know what it was about going into it in the first place. So, I mean, that's kind of a good thing if you don't know what it's about.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just some ideas are good for the short term, not the long term, not to be repeated, not to be done again because they're kind of novel. And that was a lot of what made this show good, was discovering how the overall game, not the kid games, but like the structure of the whole thing itself. Mm-hmm. Just learning about that, the different levels of the workers that were involved and the VIPs and just that revelation.
I got to add one more thing on. The masks were baller.
They were dope.
Those masks were so dope. I love those masks, especially the old man's mask. I know he didn't wear it, but I was like, dang, like this dude.
His was like an owl, right?
Yeah, it was like his was like had diamonds in it and stuff, and like because everybody else's was just like gold plated. It looked like, or like, you know, it might have been solid gold or whatever, but it was just kind of like, you know, gold plated, and like his had like diamonds in it and stuff. Like he was just stunting on everybody else. But yeah,
for sure.
All right, man. Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there.
All right.
Thanks for joining me.
No problem. Squid Game. Give it
Yeah.
a watch.